It's a spiritual battle, a warfare between good and evil, right versus wrong. And I have some examples of pure evil coming up for you in a few minutes here. Pure evil. If you ever want to know what evil looks like, I have some examples for you. I want you to see what evil looked like. And some of these women, some of these speakers that you're going to hear in a few minutes here, short soundbites, but some of these speakers, I personally don't believe them when they say that, me too. Because when you see how they sound and the way they look, I don't think there's one man on this side of heaven who has the nerve to do a me too to these women. Neither do they want to do a me too. These women are evil. While on the other side of the world, there was a pro-life march happening, and I have to tell you, the women there were women of God. They were like, they were the type of women you would want to marry and start a family with. It was really, so you can see the difference between night and day. You have the dark women in spirit, the dark women who support abortion, transgender, homosexuality, whatever. They're for everything that's evil. They hate men. And then you have the pro-life women who are totally against those things that the godless women are for. And the head of the, or some of the women, I believe the head of the so-called Women's March, they told or said or did not invite the pro-life women. They were not allowed to go. They don't want any light in their darkness. So what I want to do, and by the way, President Trump tweeted on Saturday, beautiful weather all over our great country. A perfect day for all women to march. Get out there now to celebrate the historic milestones and unprecedented economic success and wealth creation that has taken place over the last 12 months. Lowest female unemployment in 18 years. So the president's like, yeah, get out there and celebrate. You have a reason to celebrate. I've done good for you. This is from CNN. Cecile Richards of Planned Parenthood. And I said in the first hour, I used to work for this woman. Can you believe this? I used to work for her. She was my boss. Years ago, I worked at a hospital in Hollywood, California. And I became a union organizer at the hospital for my department, and other departments too. But I was so good at it, I became so good at it that other departments, instead of using their organizer representative, they would call on me to come and help them. And I was so good, the union heard about it, and they hired me. So I left the hospital and went work for the union. And Cecile Richards, who was the daughter of Ann Richards, who is now deceased. Ann Richards, a Democrat, radical Democrat. She was a congresswoman, I believe, out of Texas. And Cecile is her daughter. And I have to tell you, working for that union was an experience that I did not know I would be able to use in the future, because it helped me to understand what the unions are all about. And if you only knew, you would not be a member of a union, at least those kinds, for sure.
All across the country, the Women's March inspired doctors and teachers and mothers to become activists and organizers, and yes, candidates for office. And from Virginia to Alabama and to last week in Wisconsin, women have beaten the odds to elect our own to office. That's right, women of color, transgender women, rural and urban women. And these victories were led and made possible by women of color. So, right? So white women, listen up. We've got to do better. We've got to do better.
She's stroking the black women.
It is not up to women of color to save this country from itself. That's on all of us. That's on all of us. The good news is, when we are in full-on sisterhood, women are the most powerful political force in America.
Strong women.
And when we recognize that no one is free until everyone is free.
That's right.
And that means no matter what country you come from, no matter who you love, no matter what you look like, no matter what,
come on down.
Are unstoppable.
Ann Richard was the governor of Texas, this woman's mother. Cecilia didn't have short hair at the time that she was my boss, so she worked for the union. She had long hair, so she looked a little different. But she's stroking the black women because she knows that these women already hate black men anyway. So come on down, black women. White women, you need to be like that. You need to be for abortion. And she's talking to the women who supported President Trump, the Great White Hope. And she's making a reference to what happened in Alabama when those godless black women went out and voted against Judge Roy Moore. Remember? Judge Roy Moore running for the Senate seat. And Roy Moore is a Christian, conservative, just a good man. And then the guy that they went for was a godless Democrat who support abortion and everything else that goes along with it. So they're stroking those black women. 68% of white women voted for Roy Moore in Alabama. That's according to U.S. News. And 98% of black women voted for Doug Jones, the Democrat, the godless, evil Democrat. This is why black people are suffering. One of the reasons, it has nothing to do with color, but everything to do with the lack of moral character and the destruction of the family. And I blame the men for it, because if black men were good, the women would follow them. The women would follow them. You know what I mean? God bless the white women in Alabama for voting for Roy Moore, the right choice. And shame on the godless black women who did not vote for him. You will continue to suffer as long as you call good evil and evil good. So here is another speaker from the radical far left, way out yonder, Women March on Saturday. This is from CNN. Couple things. I want you to watch this woman. I personally don't believe she is a Me Too person. Me Too, hashtag Me Too. Because I don't think there are men brave enough to do a Me Too on these kind of women. These women are scary. When this woman was speaking, a couple of things crossed my mind. First, I wanted to hide under the bed. Secondly, it sounded like she was trying to beat Oprah out when Oprah gave a speech at the award. What's the name of that award? Golden Globe Award. You remember our Oprah, like, ew, go women. It's time for women. You told Harpo to beat me. I think this woman was trying to outdo Oprah. And this is from CNN. This is a woman by the name of Viola Davis. Viola Davis. And she said, and I want you to notice she has this thick afro. Really make her look hardcore. It reminds me of Angela Davis, and Angela Davis was a far left radical liberal, and I believe she was up in Oakland, California area or somewhere. And there she is. That's that fro. Who want to marry a woman like that? She's looking harder than the man look. Here's Viola Davis, whomever she is. She's radical and scary. This woman literally made me want to run and hide. She said, I was a Me Too.
I am speaking today, not just for the Me Too's, because I was a Me Too. But when I raise my hand, I am aware of all the women who are still in silence. The women who are faceless.
Hold on, it get better.
The women who don't have the money and don't have the Constitution and who don't have the confidence and who don't have the images in our media that gives them a sense of self-worth enough to break their silence that's rooted in the shame of assault, that's rooted in the stigma of assault. Written on the Statue of Liberty is come. Come, you tireless, poor, yearning to breathe free.
Who is she talking about, folks?
Breathe free. Every single day, your job as an American citizen is not just to fight for your rights. It's to fight for the right of every individual that is taking a breath, whose heart is pumping and breathing on this earth.
What are these women living in Iraq somewhere? Afghanistan? Where are these women that's having this hard of a time? You told Harpo to beat me. She made me go, I wanted to hide under the bed. She was scary. Here's the last soundbite. And these women are as bad as that one. I just don't believe these women are so-called Me Too's. I don't believe it. I can't imagine any man with the nerve. And if you saw this rally and then you saw the pro-life rally, there are evil women out there and there are good women out there. The pro-life rally was like daylight, a beautiful sunshiny day. And this radical so-called Me Too rally was like a dark night, a nightmare. Here's the final soundbite. This is from CNN Women's March. Someone by the name of Natalie Portman, Whoopi Goldberg. I thought she left the country. She said she would leave it if the Great White Hope should win. And Larry Wilmore and Viola Davis again. Here we go.
Right now, activists are filling the streets by the tens of thousands.
It is a directed raid.
You told the world that time's up on violence. You told the world that time's up on silence.
See, we're at the brink of a huge shift in this country. It's moments like these that are written in the history books and taught for generations to come. It's also moments like these that force us to decide who we are as a country.
The only way that we are going to make a change is if we commit to change. We have to decide that the people who represent us have to represent all of us.
We cannot be a great country until women not only have a seat at the table, but how about this, are actually seated at the head of the table. How about that?
A girly man.
And so 2017 could be called the year of speaking up. We need 2018 to be the year of showing up at the ballot box.
I stand in solidarity with all women who raised their hands because I know that it was not easy. And my hope for the future, my hope, and I do hope, that we never go back.
Lord have mercy. I hope you don't ever go back, too. I bet these women don't have husbands. Who's going to marry these women? That's amazing to me. That guy was Larry Wilmore, and my producers tell me that he is a comedian and a late-night host, not one of the top ones. So these women are trying to organize and get these other women all riled up because they hate President Trump. They want him out of there. And they are prepared for the midterm election. Believe me. I used to work for the union. These people don't sleep at night, especially when they're not in power. and they are evil, so they're out there deceiving every man, woman, and child, and they are playing the victim role so that you can feel sorry for them and follow them right into hell. Do not, and I repeat, do not fall for it. Do not fall for it. All right? These are wicked, wicked women. Wicked women. Just check out the pro-life rallies yesterday. It was about God, family, unborn children, and country. A difference between night and day, folks. So don't tell me it's about race. There's no such thing as racism. It's about good versus evil. And we saw evil in these women's rally yesterday on Saturday, and we saw good in the pro-life rally. There's a difference. Here's Angela Davis. I don't think we showed her, and that woman. That's Angela Davis. Isn't that something?
Look at this one. Look at that one.
Oh, that's Angela Davis. Yeah, she was a rough cookie. Oh my God. And so Viola Davis remind me of Angela Davis, that woman right there. Is that a real fro or did she buy that?
She bought it.
Oh. Why do they call it toupee?
That's a good question.
That's a good question? Because they had to pay for it.